Let that light of joy shine in your life all the time. Oh, let that light of joy, let that light of joy, let that light of joy shine in your life.
Well, as I was preparing for my talk today, I was reading this poetry and it inspired the talk. So I'm going to start off my talk with Hafiz's poem, I Have Learned So Much. I have learned so much from God that I can no longer call myself a Christian, a Hindu, a Muslim, a Buddhist, a Jew. The truth has shared so much of itself with me that I can no longer call myself a man, a woman, an angel, or even a pure soul. Love has befriended Hafiz so completely. It has turned to ash and freed me of every concept and image my mind has ever known. Thus ends the reading. So here we are, the last Sunday of April, the Wisdom Month, yellow, and my talk title is To Know is Not to Understand. On this spiritual journey, more and more, I'm awakening to the fact that I don't know what anything is for. And so I'm going to lead us on a journey to open ourselves up to that discernment. I start the talk with Socrates, a guy who knew a few things a long time ago. He says, the only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. That must mean that wisdom is different than knowing something. Because if true wisdom is me letting go of knowing, what's next? I won't let you dance on that edge too long. Let's turn to Albert Einstein, who says, any fool can know. The point is to understand. And nobody wants to be a fool. So it's going to be an understanding. And coming into awakening to an understanding is going to require us to do a few things. Yes? I turn to our co-founder, Charles Fillmore. He talks about it in this way. Spiritual discernment always places wisdom above the other faculties of mind. Now, I'll stop right there and say the faculties of mind are the 12 powers that Charles Fillmore talks about. Those innate skills, talents, and powers within us, like faith, love, wisdom, will, understanding, life, renunciation, all of these powers. And our spiritual discernment places wisdom above all of those innate abilities. So wisdom's pretty important. It is, continuing with the quote, pure knowing and comes by kindling inner light. What does it mean to kindle light? To add some wood to the fire, or add something to it that's going to allow it to expand. And if we're going to have that inner light growing in us, we need to light the inner fire. We need to awaken and open to the light. Now, don't worry, you don't need to carry a fire extinguisher around, because that inner light burns not a flame, but an eternal light. Now, as we know, we just celebrated Easter, and in unity, we recognize that Easter is the acknowledgement of our Christ nature, that Christ consciousness that's always within us. This is our spiritual discernment to align with that wisdom. Thomas Jefferson, a leader of our nation, a good writer, he says honesty is the first chapter of the book of wisdom. Now, this is significant because honesty with ourselves is vitally important. If we can be fully honest with what is, then we can actually then have a chance of being honest with somebody else. But if we keep bumbling along, disregarding what the truth is for us, part of our journey is blinded from us because we're not able to accept what is. Now, I've already talked about this month. Is arguing with reality is one of the greatest sources of our pain. And if we're going to open the book of wisdom within us, it requires to be honest with ourselves. I'm feeling this. I'm doing this. I like this. I don't like that. Whatever it is, if we can open ourselves to being true to ourselves, we're going to establish the possibility of wisdom. I continually turn to Martha Smock because she is a woman that has written clear language that informs me. And I just love Martha Smock. She says, wisdom includes judgment, discrimination, intuition, and all departments of mind come under the heading of knowing. So we're going to use all of our ability. We're going to use all the faculties of our mind. We're going to use our ability to judge between right and wrong, or is this in balance, is this not? Is it right or left? Is it up or down? Using our intuition, our imagination, our creativity is all going to come under this aspect of us knowing with absolute certainty what is for us. It's an inside job. No one's going to be able to do it for us. I love this passage from Colossians 2, verses 2-3. My goal is that they may be encouraged in heart and united in love, so that they may have the full riches of complete understanding, in order that they may know the mystery of God, namely Christ, in whom are hidden all the treasures of wisdom and knowledge. So we've already recognized that this idea of wisdom and not knowing is important across millennia of the human journey. We don't talk about it very much, but in this space of coming into our wisdom, we must go inside and embrace the mystery of God. If you've figured out incomplete the mystery of God, please schedule an appointment with me. I find God is so big. And when I think I've gotten a new aha, oh boy, do I not know what anything's for. Because God's so much bigger than I can imagine. And the grace is the Christ consciousness is within us. And it's that Christ consciousness that informs us, that opens us to a new way of being. Maybe opens us to be honest with ourselves, to open us to realize truth, our truth. I also turn to the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu. He says, knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power. Knowing others is very important because we're in families, we have work situations, we have church volunteer situations. We're relating with other people and learning how to communicate and listen and say I'm sorry and give directions and delegate is all part of a wonderful intelligence and certainly makes our life easier. But knowing yourself is true wisdom, because the only one that's going to know that wisdom is you. And that's going to inform you, guide you, feed you, and it's a dance with the divine. Mastering others is strength. I can share with you that the 30 years I've been dancing with my partner and husband, Owen, has been a curriculum of learning how to say, I'm sorry, you're right, with love and acceptance, and it's given me strength because I can trust myself to be in communication, in relationship. And within that trust, there's a strength of history and experience that we can use to do whatever we need to do. Yes? And mastering yourself is where we get our power, our personal power. So we get intelligence and strength working with others. We're going to get true wisdom and our personal power from knowing ourselves fully. If we're not wrestling with reality, we've got a lot more energy to just be fully alive. Isn't that what we want? Does anyone want to be fully alive? I know I do. I say yes. Again, I go back to Martha Smock, and she says, the wisdom of God in you enables you to look past the appearances and see clearly the right steps to take, the right decisions to make, the right ways in which to proceed. So in this dance, in the present moment, with God, Christ consciousness, whatever name you want to give it, it's going to be with that journey that we're going to take the right steps. We're going to follow and be given exactly what we needed. Now I have to share with you that in May of 2018, if anyone came up to me and said, you're moving to Texas, I would have confidently bet every penny I had, said there's no way. It ain't gonna happen. I'm a Maui boy. Well, when we open ourselves to God, we allow the news, the information, the guidance to lead us wherever it's going to lead us. And then when you say yes to God, everything is made available. So easy. easy. Who would have thought moving from Maui to New Braunfels would be just easy? Sure, there's work that needs to be done. You got to fill the boxes. You got to pack the container. You got to ship the car. You got to change addresses, sometimes multiple times. But if you just do each step, it just gets done. And now the boxes are unpacked. Everything's hung up on the wall. And I'm getting all the mail. One step at a time. And then we don't get overwhelmed. But allow God, allow that Christ conscious within us to inform us and guide us what our next step is. And therein lies the, I don't know what I don't know. But God knows, and thank God, God has skills. I end my talk with Socrates. He says, wonder is the beginning of wisdom. I love this because isn't it the message from the master teacher that Jesus said, be like a child. And if you spend any time with kids, you know they live in wonder. Because they're not burdened down with the gotta and have tos and supposed tos. So let those down and encourage your heart to live in wonder. You might begin to ask a wonder question. I wonder what it would be like to serve in ministry in New Braunfels. I wonder if I should do this. I wonder what would make this possible in my life. And when we open ourselves to wonder, we don't have any attached assumption or expectation to it. We're living in the wonder, being like a child. And that's wisdom. Because when we can stand in the present moment and say, I don't know what God's going to lead me to, but I know God is leading me. I say yes to God. And in the wonder of what that is, in the mystery of God, however that shows up through me and through the other people in my life, then life happens. And it happens with fullness and supply because God always supplies us, gives us everything what we need. And it begins with wonder. I wonder. So let's take that wonder into meditation as the Unity singers guide us with some music.
Hallelujah.
Oh, sweet Spirit, beloved God, we take this moment to be fully present right now. We set down everything that's happened before this moment. And we set down everything that's to be. We set down everything we plan to do the rest of the day. We breathe deeply. And from this place of relaxation, we open ourselves to the God of our understanding, to our higher power, to our Christ consciousness. Whatever name you give it, let it be the touchstone of this moment. For as we relax and let go of everything else, we don't know anything but now. And we open to wonder. Allowing this to be our time as we now go into the silence. A seed of God grows into God. Let yourself go. Let God be God in you. As we breathe deeply into this moment, we bring this meditation to an end. But we can take what we've been given in peace, in intuition, in strength, in creativity. Our wisdom is with us wherever we go. And we are so grateful. Thank you. So as we wiggle our fingers, wiggle our toes, maybe roll our shoulders, our head, we come into the presence of the room, and together we'll say our affirmation today. I open myself to live in wonder and allow God to guide me. And so it is, and so we let it be.
Lead your faith. Step out on the water. Lead your faith. Every step is stronger.